Now my TikTok should be giving me my. Hey,
they were live. They were live.
Are we on?
Right?
Why is my TikTok doing strange things? Oh, it takes a second. I got it. I got it.
Yeah, it takes
we're learning, but we're doing good things.
Yeah.
Connect.
How are we going to connect with this one here? Okay, start streaming. There we go.
I want my TikTok live monitor.
There we go. So that should be live now. And we should be good to go.
Where is my pop out? Look at me learning stuff and doing things. Here we go.
Yeah, all this technology is a wonderful thing when you can figure it out, right?
It is. And
the key phrase is figuring it out.
We're getting there. We're getting there. And as guys, we don't want to ask for help. Should we start with that?
Nope, not going to pull the manual out.
No, not a chance.
Nope. We should absolutely go from there. What are we talking? What are we talking about here? You had the topic of toxic.
We're talking about how we're the problem 99.9% of the time, apparently.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. A lot of people, especially when it comes to guys, they do talk about they have specific problems. They have problems, mental health or whatever it might be, right? And unfortunately, it seems to have been turned into the situation where some people will say, you have a problem, you are the problem.
Yeah. Oh, Sherry's saying, hey, Jayon. I don't know if you can see the TikTok chat or not.
Hey.
I can. But you know what? We get into this bubble that and guys, as guys, this is what we do, right? We bottle it up, we deal with it ourselves, we don't talk about it. Oh, hang on, since we're being guys, what are you sipping on this evening?
This one is a Lot 40. It is a Canadian whiskey, and it is quite nice.
Is that the one you brought by the shop? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was quite tasty, right?
Lovely. I just finished a heavy workout, and now I'm having a whiskey.
That's how it's meant to be.
Typical
now
man.
You see a steak, and you're
typical
good.
Man. And I am back with the Wayne Gretzky 99, finishing maple syrup barrels. I can't recommend this enough. Hey, Tasha, how's it going? I can't recommend this enough. This is the best. Would it be easier on Twitch to chat? Hey, if you're on Twitch, yeah, hit it up on Twitch. That way everything shows up for everybody. Because you can't see my TikTok, can you? Can you see the TikTok chat?
Hold on, let me check here.
You have to do the little pop-up.
Maybe if I go over to you, I can see it here a little bit, but I don't get all of it.
So,
which is interesting. But if I go to Quentin Durhack onto TikTok, I might be able to get a better view of it.
Yeah, I can't see what I look like on TikTok because I don't open everything, because I got like 18 windows open on this thing. Because again, I'm a guy, I'm multitasking. I'm the guy that has to carry all 37 bags of groceries in one arm and the bread in another. Is that the way it works?
Yep. That's how it's supposed to work. You make it in as few trips as humanly possible, or masculinely possible, I guess I should say, right?
That's a very toxic way to carry groceries. That's all I'm saying.
That is the most toxic way to carry groceries. So, like, toxic masculinity, what the heck does that even mean?
I guess I can say whatever I want because, hey, Canadian Spark Plug's here. I'll whatever. It's our show. We can say whatever we like. I would say
Yep, exactly. People don't like it, then they can just
don't watch
their own show.
Like, that's fine. Please do, but don't.
Yeah.
I think that somewhere along the line, guys have, if it's a generational thing, I can understand that. If a lack of consequences for your bad behavior is what was ingrained into your system, like, it's fair to say that however you treat your mother is probably how you're going to treat your partner. And when you have a disrespectful kid,
that's fair,
that's never been corrected and never knew that, hey, I shouldn't be acting like a complete tool bag here. Like, were you ever told do not curse in front of a lady? Would you swear in front of your mother?
But when I was a kid, I didn't. No, I never swore when I was a kid.
Did they wash your mouth out with the cat?
Soy sauce or something. Yeah. No. Yes. Just gargling with soy sauce. No. I don't remember really having that discussion, but I also just remember not doing it. But I've got a different view, like perspective on swearing than most people do. Like, Like my wife, she's a potty mouth. She'll drop F-bombs like it was like she's a bad juggler,
Really?
Yeah, and my even my daughter, my oldest girl, yeah, she'll drop the occasional F-bomb and everything, right? And I tell them you shouldn't use it on a regular basis. It's almost like cooking with salt. Making when
Yeah.
you're making food, too much salt, you lose the flavor. You lose the recipe. If you put enough in, it's a good little punch. It adds a little bit of something to it. But if you start doing it all the time, it's just kind of a sign of
Lower
I
lower
like this.
intelligence.
There's been talk about lower intelligence, right? I don't
I
want to
wish
say
I
it
could
too
spell
loud
that.
in case somebody's watching, like my wife or
Well,
someone, right? Yeah,
or MSG in your case, which would be the
or
MSG in
MSG in
your
my
case.
case. Yeah,
You guys love that
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely,
You people love
absolutely,
that MSG.
because
No,
delicious.
I
Yeah. Now, if you want a challenge, then I'll challenge you to have a teaspoon of MSG, the MSG challenge.
I'll do it. Hang on a sec.
Yeah,
Am I
I
going to
would
be
like to see
regretting
that.
that for hours on the throne?
It'll taste no, it'll just taste like a
What
lot
does
of
it taste like?
regret.
Does it taste like salt?
It
It
no,
does it taste like dim
no.
sum?
It's a very unique taste. It's a unique taste. They call it umami, right? All the different tastes, right? Sour and sweet and salty
Sure.
and bitter, right? It's got its own name. It's called umami, and it's an
Sounds like
well, I don't even know how
it
you
sounds like an ancient
explain it.
Chinese curse.
It's a Japanese one for sure, but you could give it a try sometime.
Do
Just
you
go
have
get
some
some
at home?
accent, dip in. Of
Of course you do. Why
course I
wouldn't you?
do. I'm gonna come over someday, and we're gonna videotape you doing the MSG
Sure.
challenge,
I'll do it.
and we're gonna put that on
I'll do it.
TikTok. Okay, and I think this is something that would blow up because the look on people's faces will be like, it's not pure terror, but it is a little bit of a horrible
I'll give it a
experience.
shot. MSG, I mean, it's in everything you
Yeah.
guys make, so I'm sure I've eaten a pile of it.
Yep. Very
So
much
going
probably.
back to
Yeah.
swearing, okay, why don't we look at this? If you look at the way the guys have devolved, I would say there's twofold. One, the way we
Yep.
treat people, the other one, the way we're treated by partners, by
Yep.
girlfriends, by society as a whole. You talk
Yep.
about swearing. I used to have these kids that would came in. Actually, there's this kid I used to cut his hair when he was little. His dad had an absolute filth mouth. And they would get in trouble all the time for swearing in school. However, they were the most polite kids, and these kids have grown up to be incredibly responsible and proper young men. Okay.
Yep.
And they would get in trouble for swearing. And his dad would come over and get called to the school and say, what was the case here? Like, what happened? And the kid fell
Yeah.
or he got kicked and he dropped an F-bomb or whatever. And he'd say, listen, unless these words are being directed at somebody, I don't care. It's an exclamation point.
That's fair. As long as it's not used exactly, it's 100%. It's an accent, like it's literally just
It's turned
that.
into regular sort of speech patterns for us, but
Unfortunately,
there's
yes,
also
it
a level
has.
of respect that you have with your surroundings. Like, I don't know, we have some ladies in the group here. If a guy swears a lot, is that attractive or is that unattractive? Or do you even notice it because it's so common? Like, is that just the way we're built now? Like, do we curse more than we ever did? Like, are guys acting like gentlemen anymore? And on the other hand, there was also a time when men acted like men, ladies acted like ladies. I don't notice it. I don't think we notice it. Not as much.
I find, because I don't use it a lot, but I do use it on my clients. Okay, I do swear at my
Really?
clients. Okay, yep. Because here's a really good example. I had a gentleman in years ago, and very overweight, very inactive, very
Right.
diabetic, like dangerously diabetic, and heart conditions and everything. And I said, what will be really good for you to do will be get out, get a little bit of walking, get some movement, get some exercise, like nothing big, just start with like 5-10
Right.
minutes and get some movement. It's going to help you a lot, right? Yeah. Next time I saw him, he came in again. I said, how did that exercises go? How did those exercises go? All that homework I gave you? And he just started laughing. And he's like, yeah, I didn't do any of that. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm just, it's not my thing. I can't do it. And I just sat there and listened to him explain his reasoning for not doing it. And I looked at him and calmly said, you're going to fucking
Yep.
die.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, just dead, like complete
Yep.
gone. And he went, oh, and he sort of slunk down and he went, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's really serious. It's really
And
serious.
I think
and then he listened.
and you know what? I think with men, unless we're faced with our own mortality, we don't listen. Or unless we're about to lose something, right? If you have to change your behavior because of whatever. Like I was 23-ish, 309 pounds of fat. I was a chunk.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he used to sweat mayonnaise, right?
Well, yeah. And my doctor told
sour cream, I guess.
Sauteed onion butter for my I just drink it. Dude, I used to drink, not drink, but when I'd made bacon, I would take bread and dip it in the pan.
Yep. And fry it
and
in there.
Eat it. Like, why was I fat? I don't know.
It's
body positivity.
I don't know either.
I don't know why.
It's delicious and you're happy. That's all that matters.
It took my doctor saying you're going to die. You're gonna have a heart attack before you're 30.
Yep.
And that's when I made the big. And I mean, we were at. Oh my goodness, what was the gym we were at?
That would be at Body
Force. No, in the mall. Oh come on, you worked there. I worked there.
Fitness Quest.
That's when I started going to Fitness Quest, and I lost a pile of weight. But I mean, guys have to have consequences in order for them to make changes.
Well, yeah, because people need to have a certain amount of mortality put in their face, or they have to realize they're about to lose something before they're going to make some drastic change. Because it's easy to continue on, but when you have to make a sacrifice, then you kind of go all in, right? That's just really how it is.
What is it? If you had to describe masculinity to someone who has never heard the word before, how would you describe it without pissing someone off in today's day and age?
Okay, here's a good thought. What is the opposite of masculinity?
I would say femininity. No?
That's what most people would say. Absolutely, right? Because it makes sense.
Okay.
Right? Yin yang sort of concept, right? But in reality, if you really think about it, it's boyhood. Okay?
You're right.
The immature boy, right? Because that's literally what the opposite is. So when you talk about what true masculinity is, as a whole, it's in reality the evolution from boyhood to masculinity, that growing up and understanding accountability and responsibility.
So it's the extended adolescence that we're seeing en masse that could be part of the problem here.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, have you ever heard of it's called the mythopoetic movement? The mythopoetic.
I can barely pronounce that. How would I have heard of it?
Okay, you're gonna have to take a look into this because it was big in the 70s, about the 90s, and it was about men's movements. Okay, and a lot of these men's movements came up as kind of a counterbalance to the rise of the women's rights movements. Okay, so and it wasn't like oh, you're gonna do that, we're gonna get you back. It was literally it was like the women were saying, look, we're trying to improve ourselves, our concept of femininity, and become more independent and everything. So what are you going to do as men? And that's where it kind of arose. It was like, okay, like we're improving ourselves. What are you doing? Okay. So that's pretty fascinating, actually, because there was that check and balance that was, if we're going to get better, you need to get better too. And that's fair.
I think that's completely fair. We have Jerry on TikTok who said, what's the opposite of femininity?
Well, it's the same thing, realistically. Sense. It's the young child, the young girl, right? But if you think about it, when does a girl become a woman? This is an easy one, though. If you just think about it, right? It makes sense.
You're talking biologically?
Biologically or anything, right? But when is the celebration of becoming a woman?
If I say sweet 16, am I off by a bunch?
It's menstrual cycle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Then
okay. Makes sense.
You're right. There are key times in a woman's life when they realize that they're a woman. Does that make sense?
Now you see the problem. Now you see the problem with guys. Guys don't have that. Okay. Now they used to, if you look at some of the tribal movements back historically, it was, like eat this crazy mushroom, here's a spear, take off all your clothes and go to the forest and kill something you're scared of.
Right. Right. Now you're a
Right?
man.
That's what it was,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, now you're a man. You came back, you got your scars, you've been injured, and there's still rites of passages that do occur in a lot of other societies too, where it's, it's like self-harming, like the scars or whatever it might be. But North American society, historically from, how you and I grew up, how do you become a man is you get laid. You take something from a woman, right?
It's a lot of take.
So now we see some of the problems. Yeah, we see a lot of the problems that start to arrive from how the perception of our modern society comes, especially
You're
when it
right.
comes to media.
You're right. And the world's been over sexualized to the point where that's where guys
Yes,
believe that now I'm a man. And
right. Now you take that away because they're told it's not appropriate. You can't do that, and now you're a ship without a rudder. You have no direction. You have no idea when do you become a grown up? When are you a man? Is it when you're 18? Is it when you're 21 and you can vote and go to war? All these things, right?
well, we go to, yeah, you're right. But these are what I think have become rites of passages for men, for boys. And
Hmm.
Jerry's got
Yep.
another, what does masculinity mean to you? Masculinity to me. That's a tough one because
It
it's
is.
changed so much. I believe that my job, my duty as a man, as a married man and a father, is to provide, to protect, and to respect, and to raise young adults.
Yep.
Um, as a parent, as a the idea of masculinity means maturity is not the traditional definition. I think I think there's confusion in that. Where does the maturity come from? Because there was a time, if you go back to our generation, the Gen Xers, we wanted to grow up as
Yep.
fast as we could. We wanted to be adults as fast as we could. Okay. And
Yep.
we went through as many of these growing up stages as we could as fast as humanly possible. So I do
Yep.
believe that we matured faster than the generations that came after us because we wanted to get out of the house.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
weighed ourselves down with responsibilities as quickly as we could because that was part of not just being a man, but just growing up. We wanted to grow up.
So would you say two of the big words you could say would for a definition of what masculinity would be for most people would be accountability and
Yeah.
responsibilities.
However, women would have the same thing, accountability and responsibility.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
where did it change where guys went from now I'm a man to you're just acting like a man?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of that came from lack of confidence. Now, where do we tend to get confidence from? It's from repetition and being
Right.
competent. Okay. And especially historically and even in modern history, where did young males develop those skills? Through apprenticeship,
Well,
right?
this is where the apple does not fall far from the tree, right? Like whatever you're taught is what you'll be.
Yeah,
And sometimes the
exactly.
lessons that they're getting aren't helping them. And even when you look at
Mm-mm.
the amount of look at the divorce rate, how many guys are growing up without a
Yes,
father in the house, or however that separation goes, what they think their
yep,
dad was like through through the descriptions that they're getting on a daily, right?
correct. So if you're in a position where it is a very bad
Hmm.
breakup and there's a lot of bad talking and there's blackmailing or whatever it might be between the different relationships, you're going to grow up understanding that's complicated or that's acceptable. And that's one of the psychological terms of toxic masculinity. Where it came from was because it was prison inmates. Now, a lot of them, it wasn't from being males that were toxic, it was their upbringings of single parent
That has a
homes.
bigger effect on people than I think people think. And
Yep.
hang on a second. We got two people here that I really want to grab their comments and just run with it for 2 seconds, Jay, because if they disappear,
Yep.
I'm a
Let's
jerk.
go for it.
Canadian Sparkplug. I'm embarrassed of my weight to go to the gym. and not knowing how to use gym equipment. Well, Canadian Spark Plug, I got a question for you. Are you from town? Are you from here? Doesn't matter. But here's the thing. I was excessively overweight. I was in terrible shape. I was also in the same boat. I was embarrassed to be. You're from town? Okay. First things first, and this is from a guy who used to be a personal trainer, and I used to work with people that were excessively overweight. I worked with people that they needed the help just like I did when I was overweight. You got to remember this. No one's watching you at the gym.
Yeah.
Like no one's watching anybody at the gym. You're doing your own thing.
The only person that's watching is yourself.
Right. The fact that you're there, even if your first day, even if you don't join a gym, I would say do something that you haven't been doing and keep doing that until you can do something else. So if you've never gone for a walk,
until get good at it first.
Yeah, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Going from nothing to something creates change. You'll be surprised to know that if you're at the gym and you're struggling, people will help you. People will give you a hand. Don't be afraid to ask, because people at the gym typically want to help people because nobody wants to see anybody get hurt.
And everyone started out in the same place. Either they were underweight or overweight.
We get a new machine in the gym, and sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I'll try a new movement and mess it up. Like I've gone from being a heavy lifter to now I'm balancing cardio in to everything right now. So I am
That's a bad word.
Dude. Here's a guy who, like, I lift, but I don't run. And now I need to run because I'm trying to get my cardio up. So I'm jumping rope, which I haven't done since I was like 4.
Yeah.
And you want to see a big guy trip? I was embarrassed at the gym, and I'm there every morning. But me trying to skip until I got a rhythm down.
Yeah.
It's hard. And you're an old dog in new tricks, but I had to find a song that would give me a beat that would keep me going at a good pace. And it's actually Houdini by Eminem. That song gives you a constant beat that's easy to skip to. And
follow along with it.
Without watching anything, I was doing it. So do not be embarrassed to go to the gym. I know it's easier said than done, but even if all you do is walk on a treadmill.
Yeah. It gets easier. Then you start adding things. Hey, when I started going to the gym, I drove past the gym 3 times before I finally went in. I canceled 3 times.
Right.
Or I guess just not showed up,
Well, here's the thing. I had a personal trainer, and even he said, just get on the elliptical and try and do half an hour and then go to 45 minutes. Like I physically couldn't do that much. Everything whenever you start, you can go further and do whatever's going to be better than you were doing yesterday was always my advice. Just better than yesterday. That's it. Even if it's 1 more minute on that treadmill.
Yeah.
But no, Canadian Spark Plug, do not be embarrassed at the gym. I go to any time. If you are interested in going to a gym, I can talk to Amber, get yourself a week, try it out. And if you want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and you see me there, I'm more than willing to help you. You got that. That's a promise. I want to get Tegan. Oh, sorry. An anonymous person had a good long one for me to talk to read. So I want you to listen and then answer after I'm done reading. Okay. So they were in this afternoon. I was talking about the stream today, and we're doing a toxic masculinity. What is the whole trickle down effect from the discourse of masculinity itself, with the rising left and the Me Too movement? And now this is a lady as well that said this. And the whole everyone is a victim mentality in our culture. Is toxic masculinity now being confused with strong masculinity? That's a good point. How does one raise a little boy to be a strong stand-up for what's right, as defined by the norms and beliefs of home, in which said little boy is raised? Let's go with the dual parent. Both parents are at home. When masculinity is all perceived as toxic, based on the totality of the culture shift and what is happening in the world, including what is being taught at school. I think we've gone too far to one side. Burning the broads and asking for equal pay and not having to deal with sexual harassment in the workplace were great wins, but we can't exist without masculinity and masculinity on all levels. That's a hell of a point.
It is. It is a very.
There has to be balance, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, guys, Okay, ladies, if you could trade places, would you? We have some ladies in chat. If you could
Yeah.
trade places, would you? And
Who was that? There
why?
was a lady who did that. Who was that?
She wrote a book about it. I remember
Yes.
that. She actually disguised herself as a woman,
As a
as a
man.
man, lived as a man, and hated every part of it.
Yeah.
Hated it. Like she went into a deep depression over it.
Yeah. She said very specifically, men don't have it easier. It is just very different. And they deserve our sympathy as well.
We don't get that.
Yeah.
And not to sound like a suck, but the reality is we've been told to man up. And I think that eventually when someone's told to shove it down,
Yeah.
eventually there's going to be a breaking point there too.
Yeah.
Like we're as fragile as anybody else, although we don't
Yeah.
want to admit it.
Well,
Like
even the hardest metal is brittle at the right conditions, right?
that's a hell of a point.
So
That's a hell of a point. Canadian Spark Plug, she says, no, she wouldn't trade places with a guy.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade places with a woman either, but
here's the thing. The amount of effort with the whole man up thing, I'm too emotional. Well, that's the thing. You would have to sadly learn how to bury your feelings.
Yeah.
Always.
Like, what was that? There was a video where, sorry, just cutting you off there because this is particularly relevant. There was a video, it's on TikTok or Instagram, where a woman is talking to like a television TV show and asks, when are men going to start becoming more emotionally mature, right? And then the speaker turns and looks at her and says, you have to be careful what you're asking for, because if you want emotional maturity in a man, you also have to realize you're going to be getting a man who's going to call you on your bullshit, who's not going to put up with you doing everything you want to do, who's going to set boundaries and not like you acting the way you are. Are you prepared for that?
Well, that's where the reality is, Jay, if you and I had an argument, we'd call each other's bullshit right then and there, deal with it.
Yep.
And it'd be over. Where again, I'm not speaking for the ladies, but if someone ticks you off at work, you're probably going to go home and talk about it.
Yep.
And it doesn't get directly taken care of sometimes.
It festers.
It festers, and then where does it show up?
Yeah. Right? Everywhere.
It shows up everywhere. And I think with guys, like, here's the thing. We can call it toxic masculinity if we want, or we could call it what it is and say there have been assholes in the world always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like there are people out there that are just bad people.
They're just toxic people.
They're toxic.
It's got nothing to do with masculinity, femininity. There's just some people are shitheads.
Men and women alike.
Yeah.
Right? We both are guilty of it. And there are also a lot of guys that seem to have to prove something.
Yeah.
Like I'm the toughest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, I believe it's is it an ancient Chinese saying? It's better to be a
proverb. Yeah.
A proverb, a warrior in a garden than a gardener in the war.
Absolutely. That's a good one. I don't know who said that one, but
probably, I'm guessing it was a cousin of yours.
Probably. I think it was my uncle.
Dim Sum?
Choi, or something like that. Yeah.
Bok Choy?
So Bok Choy. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's the reality is that's how it is. And we were talking about this earlier when I was in for a haircut on some of the more popular shows nowadays, especially like Reacher. It's like, you want that gentle giant who's going to punch a wall down if he needed to.
Well, and I think that you're right with Reacher's a great example of someone who has control over what the possibilities are that he could do. Right.
Yep.
Like our kids, my wife, my kids, now they have never seen me violent ever. However, there's no question in their mind I'm capable of it.
Right.
Like,
which I think is a necessity. That's the protector stereotype, or the archetype, I guess you could call it. Right.
Right. Now, do I walk around like a tough guy? No, I don't. You know me. I mean, you know me for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that I am wanting to. However, it's who's going to carry who out of the house if there's a fire?
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. I will. That's again, ingrained into our souls as men that we have to be able to protect, protect, protect. And is
Yes.
that toxic? Ladies, tell me, is that toxic? Because I know that we'll get a lot of the I can take care of myself. Sure, you sure can. You sure can. And I don't doubt that for 1 second. But there's a different level that
Yeah.
guys are expected to be able to do. And the ability to
Yeah.
protect, I believe, is a lot. No, it's not. What's the question I asked? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. This is what happens when I talk too much.
Just keep going. Keep going and don't read the comments until you're done your train of thought.
I know.
Then
But
take a sip and then go.
maybe need I mean it's some man juice here. Now I lost my train of thought completely. You're right. There is a time and a place to protect. However, the ability to protect does not mean that you should be aggressive,
Yep. Correct.
right? And I think that the fact that there are people that believe the only way to be seen as well, there you go, single parent, had to develop the protector side, absolutely, and
Yep.
that's the reality of a lot of people for sure. But what am I drinking? I am drinking.
It's Emmanuel. How you doing, man?
This is Maple Cask Canadian whiskey by Wayne Gretzky. I think he played baseball or something.
Yeah.
And
Golf player.
It's golf finished in maple syrup barrels, and it is smooth and not too sweet and quite nice. Considering that I just finished a heavy cardio workout, this is probably the worst thing I should be drinking. I go to work and protect. When I came home, I just want to shut that off. Well, now Tegan's can I tell him what you do? Let's say Tegan is a member of the RCMP. She's fantastic. And her job is to go and protect. Okay. Now she's trained to do that. And I believe she's absolutely dynamite at her job. She's been doing this a long time. But that's different because it's the same. Absolutely your protector, but it's very controlled, right? It's very controlled. You know when to do it, how to do it, and there has to be a very specific situation where you're going to do it. The guys that have to puff out their chest and act like, the guy that walks through the gym like he's carrying 2 buckets of water on his arms.
Yeah, the invisible lat syndrome. Yeah,
invisible lat syndrome. That's different than somebody who's capable of doing it and chooses not to do it, but could in a heartbeat if necessary.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of guys that need to prove themselves. And it could be, like you said, the extended adolescence where you're a boy, but now you're a 25-year-old boy still because you did not mature.
Now, have you looked at any of the work done by Carl Jung?
No? I want to say that I've read something, but I know the name.
Possibly, psychology. And so they talk a lot about the shadow. So it's kind of like the dark side of things, right? So it's
your beard is scraping on your earbuds.
It sure is. Should go see a barber, I guess.
Yeah.
There. But if there's a book that I should lend you, you would find it pretty interesting. It's called King, Warrior, Magician, and Lover, right?
Ooh, are there pictures?
It's all based. It's not the Kama Sutra. So, but it's all based on the archetypes of mature masculinity, right? And it's based around a lot of the old psychology concepts from Jung.
So tell me, is there any chance you can pull up the points of what the archetypes are of
each of them?
Because I would like to see if those even exist in today's culture. If we have we fallen away from what men were? Because there was a time when we were gentlemen.
Yeah.
And you know what I love? And this is, if you go back into the 40s, the 50s, like even if you look at the old mob movies or old mafia stuff, like these guys were
they're all dressed up. Yeah. They all always look good, right?
But
while they were busting heads.
Right. However, they respected their mother.
Yeah.
They respected their wife. They protected their family. And it was a different time. And somehow we've turned into this. Men aren't men the way we are. Like, it's not the same.
No, it
The
isn't.
the expectations of being a man isn't. What are the expectations of a man now?
Yeah.
There's one. Like,
For
okay,
some people,
what
it'll be just get out of the way, right?
right, but okay, what should every man be able to do? What's a list of something every man should be able to do?
Well, for one thing, let's start with the most basic things. You should be able to, make your bed or something, right?
Change a tire,
Change tire. Yeah.
tie,
Throw a punch.
throw a punch, cook a good meal.
Yeah. Cook a meal, several meals.
Yeah.
Use a hammer, do some basic tool work, right?
Properly shake a hand.
Shake a hand. Use the word sir appropriately. Answer a phone.
Yeah. Stand up and shake
Make eye
hand.
contact. Yeah.
Absolutely. How to properly ask a woman on a date.
Yep. Nobody
Ladies,
does that anymore.
how does a man properly ask you out on a date? Provide and protect. You betcha, Iceman. Provide and protect. And be a gentleman. There's nothing wrong with being nice.
Yep.
There is nothing wrong with being nice.
Nice is also different from being a gentleman, though.
I'm not the man who does the whole door open thing, pull your chair out. You know what, Canadian Sparkplug, you've got a rare commodity right there.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to opening the door? Whatever happened to that? Be nice. Be nice. It's easy to be nice. Like, girls, ladies, who wants a tough guy? Really? You sure do want a tough guy? I think she's answering a question from before.
I think she's asking a previous one. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Collaboration.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a control thing. Everything works better together.
Yeah.
Support your family. Like, there you go. The wants are fairly low. Like, it's not a big list. Ladies, do you have a huge list of what a man needs to be? Be mindful and respectful.
Yeah. See, here's a fun story for you. I was talking with a friend of mine about this whole strong, independent woman, and people had said to me, you make sure you teach those girls to be strong, independent women. They don't need a man, right? And I was like, no, that's absolutely like some of the worst advice ever, right? And she goes, well, what do you mean, right? And I said, I don't agree with that whatsoever. And she has a young boy. I said, do you want your boy to be subservient to a woman? And she was like, no, I really don't at all. And I said, there we go, because we want them to be collaborative. We want them to be happy. We don't want them to be slaves to whomever they end up spending time with.
It's funny that you say that. I have a quote for you. A foolish woman treats her man like a slave and becomes a slave's wife.
Yeah,
a wise woman treats her man like a king and becomes a queen.
Ah, there we go. That's a good one. Yeah.
And if you browbeat your man down to the point where you don't recognize him as a man anymore.
Yep.
And then he suddenly chirps back or has enough. Is he toxic at that point?
He's a failure at that point, I guess, eh?
Well, he's been beaten down to a pulp and then suddenly says something and now he's the problem.
But nobody wants to stay with a person that's like that.
You're right. Like, I think that when you have a partnership that is one-sided, someone's losing every day.
Totally. It shouldn't be a zero-sum game.
It shouldn't be. And there was a time when men, let's go back to the 50s. Men went to work, women stayed home and raised the kids and kept the house and did all those things. And do you wonder why trad wives have become trendy, like traditional wives?
Oh, yeah.
Because that hasn't been around in forever. Like when we first had kids, my wife stayed home for 8 years. Okay.
Right.
And I busted ass to make it work. But why was he beaten down? Well, you'd have to ask the person that did the beating.
Yeah.
Would be the best question, Tasha.
And we all know people who have been in those positions.
There are guys that I know that have become shells of themselves after marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. It goes both ways. Like if one person has to hold the reins all the time, then the other person is nothing but a passenger.
Yeah.
And that's not fair either.
Yeah, the constant fight over control is difficult.
Do women need to rely on men for success? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah,
Women are extremely successful,
yeah.
and it's awesome. Hey man, hope we're doing well. Steve, change your profile. Oh, Steve changed his profile. Hey Steve.
So here's a quote that you will like then.
Sure.
Manhood is the defeat of childhood narcissism.
You're right. Positive is good, negative is bad. However, you both have to be able to deal with the negative. I'll
Yes.
tell you what.
The
Believe it or not,
negative is where your relationship actually gets work done. That's shows the fruit of the work.
it gets real. It
Yes.
gets really real. If everything's perfect, somebody's lying.
That's why there's so many divorces. It's because all of a
Well,
sudden something became hard and people aren't willing to change and grow and collaborate and work together to get through the tough times.
I'll tell you what. I am not. Believe it or not, being married to me, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. I mean, I have my weaknesses and my downfalls, right?
Yep.
And we deal with that. We deal with that because I
Yep.
mean, I at least can say, you know what, this is where I am bruised and broken because I have
Yep.
pieces of me that are not perfect, and that comes out in more me just shutting off, which isn't healthy either.
Right.
Um, but Kelsey, thank goodness, she understands that, and we work through stuff, which is what you need to do, right?
You're supposed to have strengths that complement each other, right?
We do.
Realistically.
But however, when you have weaknesses, which I'm not too much of a man to admit it, I've got
Yeah.
weaknesses. Your partner also, for a healthy relationship, should understand what those weaknesses are
Yeah.
and help. I haven't focused so much on myself in a very long time, being successful in my courses. But well, Tasha, but the thing is, you are making huge strides in your life, right? So a woman doesn't need a man. If a woman doesn't need a man, then she doesn't have to have one.
Yep.
100%, Jerry.
Go
And
for
the
it.
thing is, go for it. Like, and that's the thing is, that's a double-edged sword too,
Yep.
because we do know a lot of people that have decided I don't need a man. Sure. And there are a lot of
Yep.
guys that are checking out of dating 100%. They're like, you know what? They see
Absolutely there
what
are. Yeah.
they're
It's
seeing
too much
women as a
work.
lot. Yeah, they're seeing women as a liability. It's like, why would I risk everything for someone who will 100% tell me that they don't need me for anything? Tell you
Correct.
what,
Yes.
I need my wife
Yep.
because she's we have to need each other. If you
It's
don't
it's
if
like
you
that
don't
sappy phrase, you complete me, right?
right, and if you never feel like you need that person, then why would you even date anybody?
Exactly. Do it yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself, please do. And
Yeah.
and there are lots of guys like oh, the drizzle movement. Did you see that on TikTok a while ago?
No, I didn't see that one.
And their guys are like, you know what? I'm good. Like this guy's got like a beautiful house and all. He goes, I'm good. I don't need. I'll
Yeah.
date here and there, but I'm not looking for anything because I'm not risking what I've built my life around
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't need me. That's fine. Then don't.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And there are a lot of, and it does happen where there are people of the opposite sex that are like, how come I can't find a man? Well, because you spent the last 5 years saying you don't need one.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that aura does not go away.
If you want to find a good person, you have to find those key strengths or key things that you want to be good at, get good at those, and then you're going to find somebody who's equally similar, right?
Well, and one of the best quotes I had from a buddy of mine. Actually, I'm going to take it. I don't think any marriage is sunshine and rainbows. If anyone says marriage is, he's a liar. It's about partnership. It
Yeah.
can't be 50-50 all the time. You're right. Ebbs and
Yeah.
flows, highs and lows.
Correct.
And I believe it's 100 and 100. If I'm only given half,
Yeah.
I'll give you
Where's
all
the
of me.
rest going? Yeah. Exactly.
Where's the rest going? And one of the best, what are women risking when dating men? Everything they've worked for as well, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the risk of loss is huge. And I think we've gotten to the point. There you go. If you go back, say 30 years, even just go back to it doesn't have to go that far back.
Yeah.
People were willing to put everything on the line for the person that they loved.
Yes.
Like, I'm willing to put everything on the line for you. You're the one.
Yep. I'm willing to suffer under the promise that things will be better when we're done the suffering.
We were less selfish.
Yep.
How about that? we were less selfish, and we knew that it took two to make this work.
Or were we more selfish, just very clear what we both wanted?
That's a possibility too. I mean, there's a chance that well, no, you're probably right, but I do think that morals have changed, values have changed.
Yeah, unfortunately, definitely, that's been a big thing too.
Yeah, and I'm all for people being independent. Please be independent. Please make sure that you can go through this world by yourself.
Absolutely,
However,
because eventually, when you do get married, or if you are with a person, eventually you will be alone. One of you will
right,
be alone
one person's going to be
because
gone.
one person will be gone, and you do not want to be in that position where you are completely dependent on another person because that's not a good position. That's not a good life.
No. So again, are men toxic, or have we just stopped being men? And
I
when it
think a
does show
big
up,
part of it is there's people are scared. Guys are scared. They've been told what is not appropriate. So, I mean,
I know
there's
guys are
been,
scared of dating.
yep. You still there?
But guys,
There we go.
why did you go away?
There you go. I went away. It just took off for a little bit. But
But
what were you saying? Sorry.
I said guys are very scared to get into the dating pool or even to flirt, because flirting can be seen as something completely inappropriate. Although if you go back 10, 15 years, this is what you did. Like, I worked in bars for how long? And guys were flirting and getting shot down. And I think that's another thing that isn't real anymore. There was a time when you turned 18, 19, 20, you went to the bar, which was the place to meet people, and you had to learn how to get shot down on the regular, because you did. You got shot down all the time.
And
And
also
having
how to reject.
people don't know how to handle rejection anymore. Every girl's a prize and every guy's a stud now. Really?
Exactly. Yeah.
And maybe it's
Like
that false sense of security.
I remember the first time I asked out a girl, man, that was hard, right? That was hard. And I've talked to girls who were in the dating scene, and they're like, because like Bumble and things made it so guys couldn't make the first move, so it was women had to make the first move,
Right.
Because it was female safe, right? So
Right.
I've talked to women who are like, I don't like it. It's hard. What if they say no? And it's like, yeah. What if they say no? How do you like it? It's hard, isn't it?
So the
And
tables
they're
have
like, I don't
turned.
really like it. Yeah, tables have
No.
turned. Yeah.
And again, but if a guy says no, it's obviously something wrong with him. Why wouldn't he want to be with me?
Well, exactly, right? You're a
As a
queen.
guy, if I asked somebody else and they said no, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like,
yeah.
I know.
But I mean, I've been in positions where I've had like been propositioned by a girl or by women, and I've said no, and that didn't go well.
No, because now you're an asshole.
Right? It did not go well. It was like, holy wow. Some people do not take no for an answer.
It's very unnatural for a guy to say no.
And now flip it. Who's going to jail? Right? Like, somebody's going to jail.
Can you pop in on this one? Like, you're right. Like, is a guy okay? So if a guy asks a girl out and gets denied, is he harassing her? If a girl asks a guy out and she doesn't want it, and he doesn't want it, is she harassing him?
Yeah.
Is it equal on both sides?
I think we've
Anybody
seen
want to
those
chime in on
things.
this one?
We've seen those things with the videos of guys being caught on video at the gym, walking by or whatever, and the girls are like, "Why are you checking me out?" And he's like, "Huh? What? What do you do? What? I wasn't."
Well, you're barely wearing anything, and you're doing squat thrusts in front of everybody. So I mean,
yep.
There are attention seekers at the gym. I'll tell you that.
And as much as I mean, there's the weird double standard of that. Like, women can wear whatever they want to go to the gym because they're comfortable or whatever. Okay, sure, but then people will also get upset at why does a women's volleyball team wear such tight pants? Are the men forcing them to wear it? It's like, no, it's not like that.
Oh, Jerry just said something that I never thought. A lot of women are afraid to say no. Really? Well, but is it more comfortable for a woman to say no? I mean, the reality is, here's the thing. As a guy, and I've said this before, This is not a good look. Women, I believe, are just far more attractive than guys. Like they're lovely and they're beautiful and they're lovely.
They're also more pleasers than they do have an innate ability to please, right? And that's
Women,
sometimes that's definitely what causes some of the problems, right? They want to be liked, right?
guys are okay being loners. Girls have
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Like girls do have a lot of friends.
My
Um,
daughter, my 10-year-old, has more friends in grade 5 than I've ever had in my life, right?
we're afraid to say no because of aggression. See, there we go.
Yep.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about this toxicity. Guys, I don't know if it's generational or if it's society, but somehow guys have forgotten what it's like to be denied something.
Yep. It's because
And
we don't hear it enough anymore because nobody's asking and doing it. So and to be fair, like you get some of these guys out there right now, they're dating and investing a lot of time, and these girls are taking them for a free ride. And then it's like after like date 10, it's like, no, we're done. It's like that. Oh, why
dude,
couldn't
your
you
beard's
say no
scraping
at the
on your
beginning?
earbud again.
Yeah,
Spin that bugger. You
no,
need some headphones. I'm going to give you some headphones.
yeah, I should just invest.
You
So,
should.
I mean, that's not saying that women owe men anything by going on dates, but if you're on date 10 of going out for supper, maybe you shouldn't be there at all and be very clear about what you do and what you do not want, right?
Evan's hilarious because he goes, when I was a teenager, I was too stupid to realize girls were letting me off easy. They'd be things like, I can't go out today. My hamster died.
For the third
Hey,
time. He got better though.
he got better. Yeah, your hamster died 5 times this month. Great.
Yeah.
Denial triggers defensiveness and aggression.
Yep.
Here's you probably, of course, no one likes to be
Oh
denied,
yeah.
but
I've seen some really aggressive women when they were being denied. It was like, oh wow. It was like a few times for me. It was like, gee, maybe I should call the police.
but it goes both ways. Like
Yeah.
guys, here's the thing: if someone was flirting with me, if that ever happens,
Your wife would kill them.
she wouldn't believe it was happening. I'm sure. Like, here's the thing:
She'd be like, oh, I
I
feel sorry for Quentin. I'll let him fly.
he doesn't even know what's going on. No, I don't, because if it does happen, and I maybe it's happened, my radar for this stuff is so blind. Now, I would say it's because I'm happily married and I love my wife. So the idea of
Yeah.
somebody hitting on me, I would think I'm married. Why would you even consider
Yeah.
this?
Why try?
But I don't see it. I never see it, which also means would I deny it? 100%. There's not a chance in hell I would ever entertain that stuff. Am I the asshole for saying no? No, I'm married. Piss
Yeah.
off. You can see the ring.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Exactly.
Now for the guy who's single, there used to be pursuing. That was normal,
Yes.
right? You knew the girl,
Playing
you had a
coy
crush
and
on the
everything.
girl.
Yep. Yep. There was the
Oh,
game involved
Evan,
in
you're
it.
not ugly, dude. You're a handsome young man. I cut his hair. He's a awesome
There,
young guy.
there was that. Remember, there was that song, "Baby, It's Cold Outside," right?
Oh, they banned that because
Yep. It had nothing to do with rapiness. It had everything to do with being coy at the time. So we're looking at the 1950s, and it wasn't seen as appropriate because there was that back and forth, right?
okay, ladies, is flirting bad? Do you like being flirted with? Like, is that a thing that happens anymore, or is it just swipe left or right? How does it work?
uh, Swipe somehow, right?
You swipe,
No, that
but
that's a discussion you have with my wife because she's got some friends that she talks to about the swiping and everything. And my wife shakes her head.
wasn't there something to the pursuit back in the day? Like when
Absolutely.
you met a girl, you were shy, you just met this girl. What's her name?
Yep.
You get a name. Flirting is great. It's trying, and it
Yep.
should be, but now
Yep.
it's considered to be creepy,
Yep. I
right?
remember when I was in high school, I met a girl, and I didn't have her phone number. I had nothing. So I spent the whole next day after the party that I met her trying to track her down, calling all my friends. Who's this girl? What's her
Right.
name? Where can I get her phone number? All day, try to find it, try to find it. Finally, I tracked down a guy who was like, "Yeah, this is her number. This is where she is. Give her a call." So hung up. Just before I picked up the phone, she called. But there was
And
that build up, right? There was that huge build up that was like hours long, right?
it was like I did a TikTok on this a while ago, and it was like men love quests.
Yes, they do, right?
It was a quest. It was a quest. And not that there's a damsel in distress, but it was a
Yeah,
quest. And
yeah,
somebody was pursuing you because they actually wanted to get to know you.
yeah.
Been
But
there,
it
right?
is the damsel in distress because that's the fairy tale and that's the hero's journey. That's the whole process of the growth and the evolution. That's what makes a good story.
And that's why romance, like your movies have
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
have the prince or the hero
yeah,
and the woman who was lovely and still
yeah,
strong-willed, but
yeah.
and he got denied a bunch in the movie. Like The Princess Bride's one of my favorite movies,
Oh
and she
yeah,
wanted
best
nothing to do
movie.
with him.
Yeah, exactly.
As you wish,
Yes.
as you wish.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because there was a love story where he was not meant to be with her. You miss believing in fairy tale and happily ever after. I believe that it's still possible.
Yep.
I believe it's still possible. I also believe that you're gonna have the old, like, what was it, Prince? It wasn't Humperdinck, Prince
Yeah. Yeah.
Humperdinck.
Prince Humperdinck. Yeah.
He felt like he was entitled to
Yes.
oh my god, what was her name?
Princess
Princess
Buttercup.
Buttercup. He was
Yeah.
entitled to Buttercup, and Buttercup wanted nothing to do with
Yeah.
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck. What a
Right.
great name.
Humperdinck.
Like, who's Dink?
Who would have thought we'd be talking about The Princess Bride when we're talking about toxic masculinity?
Yeah,
But
but I mean, realistically, that is the quintessential romance story. It's one of the top movies of all time.
great movie. And
Yeah.
there's a story where he had no business going out. Like, he
Yeah.
fell in love with her and he
Farm
pursued
Boy.
her.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello, Farm Boy. Yeah, that's all
farm
it was, right?
boy, as you
Farm Boy.
wish, as you wish. And you know what? When I find some people to get too serious, don't know how to take a compliment. Okay, ladies, if you're wearing something that looks really cool, like let's just say, okay, first of all, I'm over a couple things fashion wise with ladies. I'll say it out loud. I'm done with Lulu's. Done. You're not at
Yeah.
the gym. Stop it.
Yep. Athleisure wear is out.
Jeans, you know what? Chef's kiss. If you're
Yep.
wearing a nice pair of jeans, and you know what it is, something left to the
It's
imagination.
it's gotta exactly, but it's gotta be a nice pair of jeans, not just something you got at Value Village.
Yeah, don't borrow my jeans
Yes.
or mom jeans that go up to your elbows.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get the C case from 2000.
But then again, I don't want to. I don't need to see the. Remember when the girls this was our bar days when their jeans were so low cut,
The whale tails.
the whale tails.
Yeah.
Like why?
Tell me that wasn't. You're not dressing because you're comfortable and you just feel you want to look that way. You're dressing
we,
that way for pure attention.
we all see that you're flossing right now. I get it, but then it's what are you looking at? Well, you put it out there. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
hard not to see it.
Yeah.
Big jeans and small tops. You know what? I'll tell you what.
Oh, it's like the 90s, man. That's like the 90s. Those were good days.
Remember coveralls or overalls?
Yep. Yep.
You know, there's something about it, and the
With the halter
playfulness.
top and everything,
Tramp
right?
stamps.
So tramp
I
stamps.
believe
Yeah.
tramp stamps. I believe the sternum tattoo has taken the place of the tramp stamp.
Yeah, you're right with that. Or thigh tattoos too. Thigh tattoos. The girls who who will get the garter belt around their thigh or the gun belt around their thigh, like the Derringer holsters.
That's classy. That's like a click
Yeah,
sandwich classy.
that's like the barbed wire back in the day, right?
Oh, Emmanuel has a very interesting. Are single ladies finding married men more attractive than single guys these days, underlining the fear of commitment?
Here we
Ooh,
go.
spicy.
It's the throwaway relationship because that married guy is not interested in you long term.
There you go.
Right?
This can't go anywhere because he's married. However,
Exactly.
he's married.
Right?
I'll tell you a
That's
story.
the danger. That's the danger of it, right?
That's a. Oh, I wonder. I don't know if any of the girls are going to answer this. I would love to see an answer though.
Yeah.
Like, or is
I'm
it because
waiting.
I'm waiting? Or is it because there's a guy who knows how to make a commitment and he's making somebody happy? Clearly,
There's that too. Are all these people are they looking because he's got his shit into gear and that he because he's married, so obviously he has some emotional maturity that he can make another woman happy. That he obviously has children, and so he's a good father figure. Maybe there's some daddy issues there going on, right?
Maybe like
Financially, it's security.
danger and safety at the same time. Canadian spark
Yeah,
plug, you
yeah,
little minx.
yeah.
What is the most masculine job in your guys' opinion? Well, hang on a sec, Jerry. Jerry, do you know me at all? Before we get into this, I want to see if she can guess. Jerry, do you know me? Are
I
you from
think Jerry's
town?
a dude. I think Jerry's a dude.
Jerry, are you a guy or a girl?
Let me open the profile here.
You're doing the creeper?
Yeah, that's a guy. So,
That's a guy. What's the
yep,
most
it's a guy.
Okay, without saying a word, Jerry, what do you think that both Jan and I do?
Yep, please.
You were in
Because
Guardians of the Galaxy. The funny thing is, I've been in a couple of movies.
don't move.
Tyler,
Nobody can see you, right?
flirting takes time. It takes effort. We live in a world where everything is instant. We had a training officer who referred to today's world as always online, all the social media, dating sites, even delivery services. Everything happens now. I believe you're right in that we want everything instant and we don't want
Yeah.
to pursue like we used to. And if we don't get it, we're angry. Or professional TikToker, no clue. No. Jerry, I was believe it or not, have done hair for like 25 years and I'm a real estate agent.
Pretty
And
masculine.
very masculine.
Yeah.
Toughest guy in the world. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Jayon touches people for a living.
I'm a massage therapist.
He's a massage therapist. What do I think the most masculine job is? Blacksmith.
I think definitely a massage therapy.
Fuck off. Blacksmith. To me, blacksmith. That's the manliest job you could have.
No. Nope.
No?
Pirate.
What?
Pirate. A pirate.
You're right. Or taxidermist.
Yeah. Taxidermist, yeah.
Yeah. But recently, me and my hubby asked a good friend of ours to join us somewhere, and the wife went to the deep end because she didn't know us and her husband on friend from Facebook. She was very sad we were friends and for 12 years. Here's the thing. Be friends. Desmond sells Sensi.
There you go.
Real estate agent, barber, actor, you're busy. There needs to be like 5 of me to be productive sometimes. Anything in trades is manly. Hang on a sec. What's a woman's job? Let's go into that, guys. Everybody wants to throw that crap out there.
Here we go. If you mortician, there you go.
What's the most feminine job? I'm waiting.
Nurse.
If you say hairdresser, I'm going to snap and rip my headphones off.
Nurse.
Is that the most feminine job?
It was classically a woman's job.
Nails.
Seen as nurturers.
Nails.
Yeah.
Nails.
Yeah.
Dishes. Okay.
Dishes. Okay. No, it's like
Dishes.
I'm just going pole dancing while we're at it. Like,
you know what? Mom is the most feminine.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, there you go. So
women, what's the most impressive thing a man can do?
Be a dad.
I don't know. What if you can't have kids?
You can still be a father figure.
You can be a father figure. I believe that. Anything that doesn't involve driving. Oh, dude. Dude, you're good. Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Oh, somebody's going to hell later.
Yes, Dad.
You're gonna get hit by a car on the way home.
I believe that the most masculine thing a guy can do is sheath his masculinity until it's needed. Be a man, but you don't need to wave it around. It's not necessary.
Show up when it's necessary.
Yeah. Like I had some talking points, and like somehow have women become more masculine in the last 20 years?
Yeah. Yep.
And
absolutely.
do they want men to be more feminine because of that?
There's a part
Ladies
of that, but yeah, like in my opinion, being vulnerable. What? Yeah.
Being vulnerable isn't being feminine.
No, it is
I don't
not.
think.
Not at
But
all.
I do think that guys spot on, Quentin. Like I love the fact that women are successful, that women are driven. Women are driven
Yep.
almost more than men because we think we can do it from day one. We're convinced I can do this, and we do it. The challenges aren't the same. Masculinity is being able to be a warrior, but being able to shield it when violence isn't needed. Absolutely. There's no reason to be
Yep.
violent. Jeez, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
I
all
worked
the
in,
time. Not all the time.
no, but no one's thought, do things for your kids, stay at home. Dude,
Stay at home dad. Stay at home dad is a good job.
I work from home, and for the most part, I'm a stay-at-home dad because my wife works out of the house. My office is downstairs. If I meet clients for real estate, I meet them at my office. My barbershop is here. So I'm at home, and I play the role now that my wife played for the first 8 years of our kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm home, which is great, and I love it. Although you learn to respect the amount of work it takes to run a home
Yeah.
during the day with kids and the
Not
constant,
easy.
I'm bored. Right. Give their wives a break, sometimes quiet time. Okay, Tasha, what happens when your man needs a break?
Yep.
Let's flip. Like I think flipping every comment to everybody kind of makes sense. Like if your guy needs a break,
Do you let them
is
have a
that
break?
do you let him have a break, and what does that look like? Like I'm guilty
Yeah.
of not having any hobbies. This is my hobby. Really, this is
Yeah.
the one thing I do
Well,
that's kind of
I mean, seriously, we're here on a Friday night. Obviously, we're not getting out very much.
no. I have no social life at all. Um, but I think everything that a woman wants, it should be equally important for the guy to get as well. So if she needs a
100%.
break, yes. If he needs a break,
Yeah.
yes. Wife was out with her friends tonight, and you know what? Good. Like really, they all need to
Yeah.
do it. Voice said they need a break, but a guy won't do it. I'll tell you right that a guy won't say, "Oh." Some won't. Some will. Some guys will play video
Yeah.
games.
Well, some guys are also really scared to go out there and meet people. You know, like right now, we're at a time where people do not want to go out and meet. And as you get older, very specifically, guys have fewer and fewer meaningful relationships with other men.
Why'd you shit? Break is something that we don't. And I think when you have that tipping point, right? Whether it's the woman in the relationship or the man in the relationship, if they're not getting what they need and they don't articulate what they need, there's going to be a time where they just kind of pop.
Yep.
And it's not an excuse. Like here's the thing. There was no reason for me to ever raise my voice to my wife. Ever. Is there? Because her raising her voice to me would be one thing because clearly it was probably needed because I wasn't listening, and I'll take that on the chin all day long. But for me to raise my voice, it's sort of like if Kelsey's the kids, like let's just say something's going on. What if she kills somebody? Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But if Kelsey's upstairs and I'm downstairs in my office and I hear her telling the kids over and over and over to do something,
Yep.
and they're not listening, and I just bellow out, enough.
Yep.
That hits harder. That hits differently, right?
Yep.
And you know that when you do it, it's a different hit.
Very much. Yeah.
You have to be very careful with that because what's the win in that?
Yeah.
And I hate raising my voice. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
So do I. Whenever I have raised my voice, I tell the girls, like I hate doing this, but oh my God, sometimes your ears turn right off and you're not even in the same plane of existence. So it's just a quick shock. And it's like, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to, but oh my God.
You know what? If I learned anything from somebody who's, I think, relatively intelligent, Elon Musk, not everybody likes him right now, but here's what I
Yeah.
love about him when he does an interview. If somebody asks him a question, he doesn't answer right away. He pauses for a second, thinks about what he's going to say, and then he says it.
Yeah.
I believe that if we all took a breath before we react, our answer would be completely different every time.
Very much.
But we don't. We get in the heat of the moment and we blast. Why?
Yeah.
What's the point of blasting? And if guys, here's the thing, a sign of weakness is going after someone weaker than you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that women are weaker, but the reality, let's look at physicality and stuff like that and all that. But a true sign of weakness is anybody who can go after a target that's not as big or as strong as they are physically. I'm not saying emotionally again, but let's again look at the reality of biology. There's a sign of weakness. There's your toxic masculinity. It's absolute weakness as far as being a man, as you're built to be.
When they want to dominate over someone weaker.
Kids have selective hearing sometimes. I'll tell you what, I asked my kid something today and he said, yes. I'm like, do you have any idea what I just asked you? I said, how was skating today? And he goes, yep. I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah. What did I just ask you? And Kelsey just started laughing. She's like, he doesn't have an idea what you said. I go, we're going to sit here until you tell me what I asked you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, guys, I think that women have grown and gotten so much. Like, you've got women, tell you what, there are women that are police officers that could fold me into knots.
Yeah.
100%. And they're like, some of them are 120 pounds. But guess what? 100% capable of doing everything that they're trained to do. Right?
Yeah.
There are guys that all those years I spent bouncing in bars, I was more worried about the 150-pound dude beaking off than the 300-pound guy. Because the 300-pound guy is just throwing his weight around.
Yeah. Have you, we did, my wife and I did the fireman's challenge. Have you seen that before?
No.
So the whole thing is, can your partner get you out of the house if the house was on fire and you were unconscious? Okay. What you have to do is you lay on the floor, and you can see it on TikTok, and your spouse has to flip you over onto their back, push up, and then carry you out. So I was like, let's try this, right? So my wife is 140 pounds. I'm like almost 200 pounds. She's 5 foot nothing, 3 apples high, where I'm 5'9". I'm laying on the floor, and she gets the legs over me so she can flip me and roll me onto her back. And it's like, and finally, after repeated, she got me onto her back, and I'm laying there sprawled on her. Okay. And she's trying to get up, and she's like, I can't get up. It's like, oh God, I'm gonna die here.
Well, you know what? This is playing out like a comedy movie right now in my head. Is that the house is on fire. She goes to move me, nothing. So she grabs one kid, gets him out of the house, comes back, tries to nudge me again, nothing. Grabs the other kid, gets him out of the house, tries to pull me again, nothing. Goes and grabs her cell phone and stuff, and I'm still burning. Like, okay, could you pick me up and carry me out of a house?
You know, I could probably do it.
You'd be dragging me, my head be smashing against every stair on the way down.
You know,
could
probably
you pick me up?
I could probably pick you up. I could definitely give it a good, honest effort.
Dude, I am 250 pounds of, actually now I'm down to 244. I was 258.
You should watch that video and how they did it. And then if you see how they did it, it's like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. The hardest part would be getting to a standing position.
If I'm dead weight, dude, just grab the valuables and get out. Find the insurance papers, grab the safe. I'm done.
Just
adrenaline
grab
does
the
funny
booze,
things.
Grab some of the Jägermeister and run. Save yourself.
Jayon, you're a man of science and you're Chinese. So answer me this.
Okay.
What can adrenaline do in that situation? Could she do it if she was that jacked up?
Yes.
How much does it affect the body?
Absolutely. You know, we've all heard the stories of, you know, like there's a car accident and the car flips and the mom's got the kids in the car or whatever, and she like uses her legs to push the car off or whatever, right? Like those are real stories.
Okay. Now here's the difference. I believe a woman would get that adrenaline shot where a guy wouldn't get it in the same way. A guy would
probably
think
to
he
the
can.
Same. Yes. Yeah, because there is the motherly instinct, you know, the self-sacrificing for your child. They will tear their legs off, you know, to save their child.
Yeah. Where a guy was like, I think I can do this, but I can't.
Yeah.
Was talking. I'm 244 down from 258, and that's in the last month. I'm training like a maniac right now. I don't feel like I look any differently. Like you see me in the last month. Have I changed? I think I'm a little leaner. No,
No,
no, but I
I
am.
mean, I'm up almost 30 pounds, and it's like I don't look like I've changed that much either. When you
You're a
just wear a
little
shirt,
beefier than
right?
normal. You got a little
I'm
more.
wearing a standard shirt though. You don't really see very much, right?
I'm an extra
It's
medium
high,
in shirts. I don't like
extra
to say
medium.
large. I say I'm an extra
Yeah,
medium. I used to be a double
you're
XL.
large. You're large.
Yeah.
Oh, you used to be a
Why is
double
that?
XL. Yeah, that's
I
fair.
was a double. I
So
was I was a B. I was a C cup or B cup.
C
I don't know
cup.
how it works,
Yeah,
ladies.
yeah.
But I had moobs, man boobs. So 14 pounds gone. You know what?
Yep.
And after what I did today, because I did another thing. Um, I'm gonna try and rip another 10 or 15 off the next month. So let's see what. Not that I did bad, but I mean, it's I know what I need to do. Okay, double standards. Are there double standards between men and women
Oh, absolutely.
when it comes to
Oh,
when it
you want
comes?
out there, D'Lo? Hold on. Come on,
Oh,
bud.
that's your.
There's no. Out you go, bud. Out you
Is
go.
that your dog?
That's my dog.
Sounds like breakfast.
Yeah, delicious. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. The girls will let you out.
Ladies, do you think there's a double standard between men and women when it comes to women are embracing independence more than ever? That's fair.
Yep.
But men are also opting out of traditional relationships
Yep.
en masse. Guys are done.
Yep.
It's like a 15 bag of
Here's a
potatoes. Yeah.
here's a really good double standard that I
Okay.
had. That I've seen this with married couples, married guys, right?
Okay.
So they get to a point where the wife goes, I want to know what you're thinking. Oh, that's good. 60
Holy
pounds. Yeah,
crap, Aaron.
yeah, that's pretty good weight.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's amazing. Okay.
Anyway, yes. Sorry. So
Beard.
where the guy's upset or whatever, and he's saying, or the wife says, what are you thinking? I want to know what's going through your mind. Penny for your thoughts type of question, right? And we've all heard those questions before, right? And
Right.
the husband goes, no, I don't really want to say anything. And she goes, no, 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 I want to know. I really want to know. So then he opens up with all his, fears and the worries and his upsets and all these things that he's obsessing with and losing sleep over. And the wife has a deadpan stare and goes, I wasn't ready to hear that. Exactly, because they were ready to hear that I love you, I'm so happy we're together, all these
Right.
lovey things, but not necessarily the true things or the demons that are going on in a person's head, right?
Yeah.
There's a big double standard there.
And the doubles, and we've got these. A guy feels foolish if he sheds a tear and he feels
Yeah.
weak. A woman, I believe, ladies, again, please chime in because you're women. Um, I believe that a woman's tears have more effect than a man's tears in a positive sense. Does it make sense?
Yep.
If your woman sheds a
If you see a
tear,
man crying, you kind of get a little worried. It's like, oh, something's bad happening here.
it has to go to an extreme before that
Yeah,
happens.
exactly.
And
Where
I
girls
think
will
that,
cry at an IKEA commercial sometimes,
well, explain, Quentin. Okay. Um, I think that when a man sheds a tear, it was a long time coming, and it does also it'll come off as everything's flowing out at once.
Yeah.
And then unpacking that would be next to impossible. I believe that when a woman sheds tears, sadly, it could be one single thing that they're upset about. And this is why this is coming out. It could be
For
more.
guys, it's like the dam has burst.
The dam has burst. And
nothing left, no strength left.
well, and again, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, have I cried? For sure I have. Have I shown vulnerability? Absolutely. Now, what does it take to get me there? There's the difference.
Yeah.
It takes an incredible amount to the point where you're like shattered before you. I believe, I believe women are better at dealing with their feelings at the time that they're having the feelings than men are. And that's why guys explode. One reason.
Potentially, yeah. Or guys are just, they handle it differently.
Do we though?
So for example, a typical guy response would be to hit something, right? Inanimate
Yes.
object, right?
Sure.
Hit a wall, punching bag, something like that, push some steel, that sort of thing, right?
It
But a
is.
lot of women would view that as violence, aggression, and a threat. Whereas a lot of guys are like, no, this me hitting something physically that is not alive is just simply an expression of how I need to get the anger out. It's not me showing that I want to hurt you or punch somebody. It's just sometimes I need to get that out, and that's the physical outlet.
I believe that guys need a better way to get it out, and not particularly in front of their partner or at their partner. I
Yep.
think that here you go. Do you have a dash cam in your car?
No.
Okay, I do. And I believe that if women witnessed the conversations men have with their steering wheels on a
Oh,
regular basis.
they would be very worried about your mental health.
No, maybe, but I believe that, yeah, but I think that would give them insight into how he's feeling when no
Yep.
one's listening.
Yep. There is
And
also the belief structure that a lot of women have is the man is their stone, their strength. That's the one who they lean on, right? So having the perception of that stone cracking is not a very comforting feeling for a lot of women.
no, because we're supposed to be that rock, right?
Exactly. You're not supposed to be that person who is expressing tears at a whim. You're supposed to be that person who is stoic and strong at most times.
But the double standard is I never know how you're feeling.
Right? Right?
It's a
I want you to open
lose-lose.
up more. But if I do open up more, you don't like it because you want to hear the good stuff and not the bad.
Right. So how can a man express his feelings, negative or positive, without feeling bad that he did it? It's in the delivery.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. How it's delivered is one thing. But if your man is breaking down in tears because he's overwhelmed,
Yep.
are you going to think less of him?
I think what a good answer for most people is they need more male friends that they can talk to and process those emotions before delivering it to a spouse or partner because that's what women do.
I think you're right. I think that we don't do it because women are again, ladies. I'm generalizing. Please don't kill me in real life or in the Oh, kill me in the comments. That's fine.
Go in the comments, it's good, actually good to hear some opposing viewpoints.
Right. I believe that women have a better emotional team than guys.
Yes, yes. There was a study. Saw this somewhere. They were talking about it. They asked, women that were older, who is your best? Or no, I asked men as they got older, who is your best friend? And all the men said, or the majority of the men said, their wife. Right.
Okay.
Then they asked women, who is your best friend? And it wasn't the husband.
Ladies, is that true? This would be very interesting to see who's honest. I had somebody tell me, you know what the best marriage advice I ever got? The best marriage advice I ever got from anybody? Someone asked me one day, they go, who's your favorite person in the world? I said, my wife. He goes, then fucking act like it. And that was the best. Get your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
What was the question? The hell was the question?
Oh, that was a big one. Yeah. Do women have a better emotional support network than men?
Yeah. Like, will women?
No, sorry. It was, who's your best friend?
Who's your best friend? Our girlfriends were in our lives before our partners. True. However, who's your favorite? Is it your partner?
Guys also have a lot of friends before they get married, but a lot of guys also, guys have those friendships where they don't see each other for 5 years and they pick up for a beer and it's just like they never left.
Right. We don't need to talk to each other every month, year,
Yep.
or decade. True.
Yep.
Your husband's your favorite person. Do you act like it? This is what somebody put me on the spot with this question one day, and I was like, you know what? Sometimes I don't. What am I doing? Why am I not acting like my favorite person is my favorite person?
Yeah.
We forget that sometimes
Yeah.
as partners, as women, as wives and husbands. And if your best friend, okay, your best friend's been in your real life for 30 years. Okay. Would you, and that wow. So if I had to choose between every friend I've ever had in my life or my wife, I would pick my wife. Hands down, without
Yeah.
question. Would women
So
do the same?
here's a topic I had with my wife. We had this discussion quite a while ago, and it was like, about sacrificing, who would, would you sacrifice your spouse for your children or whatever, right? And it's like, of course, right? You'd always save your children first, right? But then it was like, who do you love more, your kids or your wife, right? And I said, my wife to Ange, and she's like, no,
Okay.
it's supposed to be your kids, right? And I was like, no, no, it isn't, because your love to your children is unconditional, whereas your wife, it takes work.
I do. If you're on Facebook, you would see that I know. You know what? I believe 100% that you love your partner, and that's awesome. And we should. That's the thing. We need to be engaged. And to say if you pick your wife over your kids, I guess technically, I guess you could make more kids.
I would always save the kids first, right? But that's where the paradox comes from. Would you save your wife or your kids first? Of course, I would save the kids. But who do you love more, your kids or your wife? I love the wife more. Why? Because kids' love is unconditional, where I have to work on that one. So I have to really put the effort in, right?
Well, and
You
that's where
know?
reason comes in. Did you ever see the movie? Oh my God, I Robot.
Yep.
Okay, where Will
It wasn't
Smith.
good.
No, it wasn't good. However,
No.
Will Smith hated robots because it saved his wife. Was it? It saved his wife, but not his kids. Saved him, but not his kid.
It saved him, yeah. Frick, I can't remember.
Right, because the possibility of the child surviving was minimal.
Yeah.
Now, if it came down to that and the car went in the water, what would I do? If the car went in the water and the kids were in the car and my wife was in the car, I would say that I would save the kids first because my wife she would know
Yeah.
how to keep herself alive longer than the kids would.
Totally. Yes.
So that's where the robot had no idea that he could have kept himself alive longer than the child. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to make judgment calls on everything.
Yeah.
Would I walk through hell and back for my wife and my kids? You bet I would. Is it
Of
equal?
course.
You bet it is.
Yeah.
Um, could I possibly harm any of them on purpose? Never.
No. No. And that would be the correct answer. So I mean, but there's also the reality of, people who, under the toxic masculinity term, who beat their child or beat their wife or whatever, and it's like, man, there's some deep shadow or something in that person's life that enables them to do that sort of thing.
There are guys that would pick their truck over their girlfriend. Let's be real.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And at that point, I mean, what the hell kind of person are you?
Exactly.
What kind of person are if you're going to lose your shit because you had muddy shoes in your
Yeah,
jacked up diesel, dude, you need to give your head a check
yeah,
because I believe this that if you are fortunate enough to have a woman in your life that cares about you and loves you,
yeah.
deserve to be sad, but I would hope that she would leave your ass like yesterday.
Yep. Yep.
And
Exactly.
I wonder if the number of domestics, and I'm not downplaying domestics, they happen, and it's sad that it does. I wonder if
Yep.
that has increased in the last 30 years. Like, I wonder if the number of instances like that has gone way up in
Well,
the
you know
last
what?
20 years.
That's not that hard
Uh,
to find out.
why don't you
Have
find
the
the AI machine? But I
domestic
wonder if that has changed to the
violence.
point where somehow it's increased. And now, why did that increase? Because I mean, I have clients and friends that are police officers, and
Yep.
domestics are constant. I couldn't imagine.
Let's see.
I just couldn't imagine.
So trends in domestic violence rates,
There we
decline
go.
in spousal homicides in Canada, Canada experienced a decrease in spousal homicide rates. Okay, but a
Okay.
recent increases in family violence from 2018 to 2023. Violent crime in Canada rose. Police reported violent crime increasing by 20%. Family violence increased by 17%, and intimate partner violence by 13%, more pronounced among men and boys compared to women and girls. 19% for men and boys, 15% for girls and women.
So this is going up. Nothing's getting
Yep.
better.
But the
Um,
factors, one of the big factors is always going to be COVID-19 in that time frame.
why?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Like
Because you got
Canadian Spark
economic uncertainty, the lockdowns, fears,
stress.
the fact that stressors and relationships that were basically breaking down beforehand, but work or school was taking, reducing the circumstances that exasperated them even more. So those are all things that have changed.
And I think one thing that happened during COVID-19 was we all drank more than ever because we had nothing to do. That
Yes,
was a problem.
yes,
Alcohol went up. Canadian Sparkle said something interesting. She goes, I think the female being the abuser has increased.
yes. Interestingly, down in the States, when they look at, I saw this one. It was between relationships. Okay, female on female relationships had the highest amount of domestic violence. Female on female. Okay, male and female had was second, and the lowest was male and male. They were the happiest. It was a gay old time. So
Right?
yeah,
Wow. So more women
yeah.
are abusing their husbands.
So here we go. Approximately 44% of women and 36% of men have reported experiencing some form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime. In the recent experiences in the last 12 months, 12% of women and 11% of men reporting it in the previous year.
I also
Uh,
believe that that number would be higher, but men won't report it.
totally, yes. Reported psychological violence, 43% of women and 35% of men. Physical violence, 23% of women, 17% of men. Sexual violence, 12% of women and 2% of men. Yeah, they're definitely underreporting that one.
Right.
So I guess guys are just not going to talk about that sort of thing. So,
Guys don't, because guys don't want to be
and
victims.
yeah, well, guys also, so it's a funny thing, especially with guys, like, if a woman is sexually assaulting you or something like that, you don't really want to tell a lot of people because it's like, what's wrong with you? You're a guy. You're supposed to like it. People don't believe you to the same degree.
Right. Because we're apparently open to anything.
Yes, I've had people say to me, "You're a guy. What kind of guy wouldn't want that?"
Oh, domestic DM survivor. No one really talks about it. They say they can't go anywhere. They feel they can't go anywhere. Isn't that the saddest thing? Like the reality is, like domestic violence. First of all, I'll be the guy that says this out loud. Any man that lays a hand on a woman doesn't deserve to be around anybody. Period. Children, women,
Correct. Yes.
alike. And I'm sorry to hear that, Tamara, that you've gone through that. Um,
Yes, the burden of
I've
proof.
never I've never witnessed it, and that's the problem. Like I don't understand how a guy could possibly lay hands on a woman. I just don't understand it. And I'm not saying that it's I guess yes, women and guys, but for the life of me, you do not raise your hand. You do not raise your hand to a woman. You just
Yep.
don't do it. I
No, I dated a woman who was trying to instigate me to do that. And it was things like, waking me up at 4 in the morning to have the talk about a relationship and the poking, the nagging, and the driving to try to push me to get violent.
I I
That's
could do it.
scary. No, I
It
couldn't, and I never did. But that is really scary when a person is willing to go through those levels to force you to inflict violence on them so that they could pursue charges against you.
Oh, that sounds like entrapment, my friend.
Yes.
If it was my fault, I was pushed into dropping charges. Tell you what, Tamara, I don't know if we know each other, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Like there's a very here you go.
That's terrible.
How do I define manliness or masculinity? I'll tell you what the opposite of masculinity is: raising your hand to a woman.
That's
That's the
fair. Yep.
opposite of masculinity.
Yep.
And the thing is,
Because you're not being a protector at that point in time.
you're doing the opposite of what you were put on this
Yep.
planet to do, right? And when you got the bad boys and the good guys, what ladies, do you prefer a bad boy or a good guy? Because here's the difference that I looked this up and I was trying to figure out what the allure is for the bad boy.
Yeah.
Nagging and pushing you is, you know what, nagging and pushing you to get violent. Tell you what, you would have to do. I don't think there's an amount of nagging or pushing that you could push me to if you're a woman to get me to be violent. I don't. And dude, I bounced for 10 years. Trust me, I've had people in my face. And have I ever raised a hand to a woman? Never.
Right.
Never.
Exactly.
But here's the quote that I got. I was trying to figure out the difference between good guys and bad guys. Are nice guys good men? Here's the question. Nice guys have good intentions but have poor execution.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bad boys have better execution but generally have bad intentions.
Yep.
So if you're attracted to the bad boy, basically this is saying he's going to get what he wants, how he wants it.
Yep.
Where the good guy really wants to care for you and has real trouble asking for what he wants.
Yeah. Friend zoned. Right.
And the guys get friend zoned. Ladies, explain the friend zone. Why is it that the nicest guy you know is the guy you'll never give a chance to?
So, Jerry, exactly. I don't get how nagging is pushing you to get violent and yes, you're a violent person. Well, that's playing with a little bit of, that's poor semantic trait right there. I mean, that's straw man analogies very specifically. And now, everyone is a violent person. Everyone has the capacity. Now, a person nagging you, pushing you to be violent does not mean that they're successful. It means that that's what they're attempting to do. And as I said, that was a failure, but people still try to do things because that's what they feel that they can do or that's what they need to get away with, right? That's a far different thing from saying nagging is forcing me to do violence. That's entirely different, and you're misinterpreting that.
There's nothing that, okay, your earbud again. Yeah. My two older daughters were 2.5 and 15 months old. I left and never looked back. Violent father. I've never understood the mentality of that. Never. And I feel so terrible that happens to women out there or partners that are getting abused. I just don't get it. I don't believe the man hitting a woman or children. It's not acceptable. It's like,
no, it isn't. Period.
Would you kick a puppy?
It's the ultimate form of weakness in all reality.
Of course it is. I mean, we've changed. And where did this happen? When did this happen? Or was it not reported back then? Like, let's look at the reality. Were guys assholes in the 50s? You bet they were.
Sure, absolutely. They were. Guys have always been assholes. There's a bell curve, you know.
Right.
You know, you get the bell curve. There's always going to be the normal people, the regular people, you know, and then you're going to get the real shitheads and then the extremely passive people, right? It just happens. There's a lot more people around. We run into more of them.
And there are good people out there. I think there's a lot of good guys. There's a lot of great women. But again, let's go back to the friend zone. Why is it that the nicest guy you know is your friend? Although, okay, ladies, if a guy's interested, you do know that, right? Wow. Abusive marriage for 15 years. Hit me once, changed to psychological and emotional. Wow. You have no idea how much my heart goes out to the ladies that are telling me these insanely personal things that I have a hard time believing. I believe you. I just can't believe that so many people, like how many people we have in chat, and of those people, how many people have been in a bad relationship? This is insane.
Yeah.
I know. Assaulting older daughter, like,
well, okay,
where did we go wrong?
Look at this way, Quentin. Have you ever been in a relationship where you have ever been psychologically, emotionally, or sexually manipulated by a member of the opposite sex?
No.
Never. Okay. Good for you.
Not that I know of. I mean, I've been in relationships that didn't work out, but Nothing that was, why are women supposed to date a man because they're nice? Shouldn't you date a man that's nice? Am I wrong?
It's
Or
better
am I
than
gonna,
dating the asshole. And there's no should have supposed to date a man. You date a person because you're interested, because you want to get to know that person. But dating has got nothing to do with settling down or marriage or exclusivity. It is simply a seeing what the person is like and getting to know the person.
no, not that I want either. I think that, like myself, I'm an acquired taste, really. I'm not, hey, T's back in here. I was in back to
And yes,
back,
you're right.
mostly hard to leave.
Physical wounds heal, emotional wounds are forever. And I've had some real bad relationships that dealt with that sort of thing. I've never been in a physically abusive relationship, but a lot of emotionally and psychologically ones. That's not wonderful.
Why do ladies prefer bad boys over nice guys? Do they consider nice guys boring? That's a good question,
Yeah.
Emmanuel. Like, why is it that apparently women like the bad boys? Like, if you looked at me walking down the street, you'd probably think that that's what I am. I'm tatted up, I'm bald, I'm built like a brick shit house. That's not me.
You know what? Ever since I grew this beard and started wearing more leather jackets and that sort of thing and put some weight on, I do notice people look at me different.
You are the manliest man I know.
Absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Get me to the last one. Show. Wow. Are we seeing, like, Jay, are we looking at more women that we're talking to in this chat have been in abusive relationships than good one? Has anybody in chat, if you're a lady, is anybody in a solid relationship that worked out? New ones probably have, but how is this so common? Is, like, are we a minority here? I know you're a minority because
It's
you're
common.
Chinese, but are we a minority here?
No, no, I think it's, well, I think it's actually, especially as people start talking about it more and start reflecting back in the type of relationships they were in. Okay. Because at one point in time, you could look at a relationship going, it wasn't really that bad. And when you get away from it, the clarity becomes more obvious. It was like, okay, that was not a good situation. That was an inappropriate situation. There was a definite power distancing and power struggles going on there. Yeah, but when it comes to abuse, that's a whole other issue. When it comes to that.
I'm just sad to see that three of the ladies that we're talking to tonight, or four now, maybe five, have been in bad situations, and they're happily married. They have good relationships now.
Yeah,
Um, you
there's
know
bad
what?
people there though.
Thank God you girls found someone that was right for you, because I'm pretty sure. Again, I don't know you guys, but I'll tell you what. Um, you must be pretty good people, because you found someone who was right for you, and that's, again, a very special thing. It doesn't
Yeah, if
happen
you're
all
able
the
to
time.
get away, if you get away from them, that's good. It's
Tamara's been
hard.
single since she left her her domestic DM. I'm guessing that's domestic abuse. Relationship 2010, 15 years.
Hmm.
Okay. And this goes, and again, it's hard to move on, and I get it. Like, someone asked me once, if something ever happened, how long would it take before you could date again if something happened? And
Yep.
myself, I said I would never, ever, ever date again. If,
Yep.
heaven forbid, Kelsey passed away, not a chance. Never. Happens once. I'm good.
Yep.
And plenty. Oh my God, is Plenty of Fish still a thing? Does that exist?
Well, how long you be married?
13 years. We've been together for 15.
God, like that's you have to start retraining a new one for 13 years to get to right this point. That's a lot of work.
Tell you what, I believe I'm the bigger project than Kelsey could have ever been, because I don't know. I don't know if I would date me. Like, I'm not. She could have done better.
Yeah.
I'll admit that all day long. But I
Well,
do
I
love her to
wouldn't
death,
date
man.
me. I know that much.
I
But I'm
wouldn't
not
date
gay
me.
either, so like, come on.
No, I mean,
So
is it okay? Is it gay
I
if you
don't
do it
like
yourself?
me. Why would I date me? I don't like me.
If there was a woman with my personality traits, I don't think that I'd be attracted to that
I feel
person.
like you dating your sister or something, you know?
Ugh. Oh God, fuck that shit. Oh my God, not in a billion years. No, I think here's the thing. I believe this. Men forgot how to actually be traditional men.
Yep.
Women have changed over the years as well. So there are things that have changed on both sides. I think that
Is
a
that why
weaker
traditional
mind,
women, the trad wife, is back? Do you think? Because people are wanting a simpler time.
we all want a simpler time. I believe that even when Kelsey was at home and I was and I was working, like, you know how many guys I had that were clients, like, holy shit, your wife stays home? Like,
Yeah,
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 holy
yeah.
shit. That is so rare because more kids are getting raised by daycares than by mom and
Yeah.
dad.
Yes.
So
People, when we homeschooled, our people were blown away. Why would you do that? And it's like, because we didn't want our kids to be indoctrinated in the COVID society school system.
oh, you're one of those round earthers too, I bet.
We're all around the world, man.
Right?
So
No,
yeah,
I think that I think that guys need to get in touch with their shit. Like, there needs to
yeah,
be more consequences for your bad actions. I think that guys need, you're right, more friends, because the more friends you have, the more they're going to talk some sense into you.
yeah.
And
I mean,
because they
okay,
live,
if you're going through a stressful relationship, like a
sure.
hard time with your wife and everything, right? And you have nobody to talk to, right?
Mhm.
You're just going to lone wolf it all out. You're going
Yep.
to make bad decisions, right?
100%. 100% of
But
the time.
I have had friends who went through divorces. You know, we go for beers or whatever, and it's like, hey, this is the problem I've got. This is where I am. And it's like, okay, these are the steps. And then that's when we're like, okay, these are the steps you need to do. Like, well, I don't really want to do those things. It's like, no, these are the logical things to do. Don't be emotional about it. These are the things you have to do.
Right.
And then it moves better, right? But if you
Yeah.
don't have anybody, a sounding board, that, like a board of directors or a mastermind or whatever you want to call it, of people to toss ideas on and say, what should I do in these situations? You're going to inherently make an emotional decision at the worst possible time.
I agree. I agree. And I think that none of us really know. How about that?
Yeah,
None of us know what's going to work, but we should all know what our moral compass says.
generally, yes, yes, and that is a very good uh, thought. Was it John Wayne said men should have a code, a code, a creed to live by, and something. So no matter what their job is or something, a code and a creed to live by. And John Wayne says this. Guys should listen.
John Wayne, here's the thing. John Wayne was, again, you want to talk about masculinity? He was a
Yeah,
man's man,
cowboy. That's there you go. Right.
but he was also a gentleman.
Yes.
Whatever happened to gentlemen? Like, T says low self-esteem, fear of being alone, manipulation of the partner. That could happen both sides. I do believe that if a guy has insanely low self-esteem
Yeah.
and the nearest target is this lovely lady in front of him, that's the only way he can flex it. Where this is also the same kind of character that if he was backed into a corner by a guy
Yeah.
at a bar, he would coward. There's the man who will never protect you. The man who would
Well,
hit you is the guy that cannot protect you.
what would a common job here? Like, here's the worst type of job for a person like that. It would be a
Okay.
suicide bomber. That's exactly what it would be. Right.
Yeah.
And we
100%.
have that situation over like how many years of having suicide bombers, a person coming in out of nowhere acting completely innocent and quiet with a secret weapon to destroy someone else's life without them even knowing it.
And again, how can a person, and I say a man because we're talking about masculinity, how can a man focus his everything on ruining somebody's life who's under their roof?
Yeah,
Because that's what they're doing.
yeah. Well, do you have that voice in your head?
Which one? There's like 12.
Yeah. Stop
Two of them
talking,
speak. Two of them
Yeah.
speak English. The other one, I don't know.
But everyone has that negative voice in your head, that talk.
Sure.
That little pilot in the back of the head. So, and the more and more you listen to it, the more it turns you into Dexter, right?
Mm.
And it's like it turns you into. It eventually morphs you into the one perfect tool that can completely destroy your life. And that's it. You go hit a child and you hit your spouse, you're done. Or you should be done.
You'll never be the same ever again, and neither will the people that you affect. And you got to remember, you will affect them for the rest of their lives and your life. Like, and you got T who's saying she tried to tell her family and they thought she was lying. Like,
yeah.
Here's the thing about a narcissistic asshole, toxic man. He could sell everybody on the idea that he's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think he would ever do that. Come on.
No, exactly. I like him, can get along with him, right?
He's a great guy. We went golfing with him last.
They're the perfect salesperson, right?
Very. Okay, come on. I'm not really a sales. I guess I am a sales guy, but no, I think you're right. When women are being nurturing and caring and all those things that we wrap up into femininity, and a guy takes that for granted, that's, I believe, where toxic masculinity comes from. You take for granted the fact that you have someone who's doing those things that we were all hardwired to do, and you're not doing the thing that you were hardwired to do because you don't believe you should anymore because she's taking care of everything else. What are your thoughts?
Violation of personal trust.
For sure.
It's a violation of your social contract with your partner. I'd agree with that.
Right.
Speaking of which, sounds like my wife is home.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm going to call it quits because I'm going to head out.
I'm going to call it quits too, guys. I want to thank everybody for chiming in. This is one of those streams that we got a lot of sharing, ladies. God bless you, because I'll tell you what, you opened up, which was lovely.
That's a hard thing to do.
Again, I feel for you guys, for you ladies. Did we cover what we needed to cover? I think we really picked apart what guys do in the wrong way. But you know what? Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for talking. And the reality is, and who was it? Canadian Spark Plug. If you have any questions, if you're actually worried about going to the gym, by all means, DM me and I can walk you through things if you feel a little uneasy about it. Okay. But hop on and let's see if we can figure out what we're going to talk about next show. And thanks for coming out, guys. And hey,
have a great Friday.
If you've got that guy, that guy doesn't deserve you. How about that?
Yeah. Get rid of that one. Upgrade it.
Upgrade it. Trust me. There's something better out there because you're better than that. Okay, guys. Thanks for hopping on. Jay, have a great weekend. And
have a good night. Have a good weekend.
I gotta go see if the kids are ready to go to bed. Have a great weekend, everyone.